This quadrilateral is called a kite. Now, you'll notice that it looks a lot like the kite that you fly. And that's the reason it's called a kite, because it is just like the shape of a kite that you would fly. Now, notice in a kite, we have two consecutive sides congruent. In other words, this is not a parallelogram. This is not a trapezoid, because these are not opposite sides. These are consecutive sides. That means that they are next to each other. So two consecutive sides congruent, and then the other pair of consecutive sides are also congruent. Now notice that no matter what I do with this kite, it remains a kite. Okay, you cannot unkite a kite. The only way that it wouldn't look like a kite is if I made it concave. Now it doesn't look like a kite anymore. But if you have a convex quadrilateral, okay, convex means all the angles are pointing out. If you have a convex quadrilateral that is a kite, it really doesn't matter if the angles get bigger, smaller, it still stays a kite. All right, so let's go over the properties of a kite. So once again, the consecutive sides right here are congruent, and the consecutive sides right here are congruent. Now, another thing that we have is that the two angles where the sides, the two different sides meet, are congruent. So if this is, let's say, 100 degrees, so is this. Okay, that kind of looks like a sad face. So if that's 100 degrees, that's 100 degrees. What else is true about a kite? Well, if you look at the diagonals of a kite, I'm going to make this fit the diagonals. Okay, the diagonals do not intersect at the middle. They do not bisect each other. However, notice that they make a plus sign. So the diagonals are perpendicular in a kite. So I have four right triangles right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 right triangles. Now, the two right triangles up here are congruent, and the two right triangles down here are congruent. Okay, so that's what's kind of interesting about a kite. Let me draw that with a marker so you could see it more clearly. If I attach this corner to this corner, you'll see that here we have perpendicular diagonals, and then this right here is congruent to this, and then this right here is congruent to this. What else can we say? Well, if I draw a diagonal just right here, you'll notice that this is an isosceles triangle right here, and this is an isosceles triangle right here. But they're not the same isosceles triangle, they just are isosceles triangles. All right, so let's just go over the parts of a kite. Congruent consecutive sides, one pair of congruent consecutive sides, and another pair of congruent consecutive sides. And where they intersect, the two angles are congruent. Additionally, diagonals are perpendicular, and that creates 1, 2, 3, 4 right triangles. So if there's Pythagorean theorems to be done, yes, you can do that on these because they are right triangles. Additionally, if you only put one diagonal right here, you will have isosceles triangles. So that's about it about a kite.